Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today it's Easter, so I decided I'm going to make a nice, moist, fluffy, perfectly sweet carrot cake. I hope you enjoyed this recipe because I'm using a combination of my old patient's recipe that had given me this. Well, the story goes that my patient that I used to treat for physiotherapy actually baked this carrot cake for me, and he's a plumber by trade, but his hobby is baking. So this cake is his signature cake that he makes for any sort of special occasions. So on his graduation day from physiotherapy, he baked me this delicious cake and I had to have the recipe. So he gave me a printout version of his handwritten recipe. So he photocopied it and gave it to me. And it took me a really long time to try it. So now I'm going to be trying it and I'll be adding some of my own little elements into it as well to make it a bit my own. So I'm super excited for you guys to try this recipe with me. Let's preheat our oven to 300 degrees Fahrenheit and get started. So I've already prepared the flour over here, and now I'm going to be adding the salt, baking powder, and baking soda, along with the cinnamon and freshly grated nutmeg. Also, if you want to check out the ingredients and step-by-step instructions, as usual, it's in the description box down below. Next, we're going to whisk everything together and set it aside. Next, we're going to come over to our grater, well, it's actually our food processor, and grate our carrots. Now you can use a regular hand grater or shredder. However, because I have a fine grater attachment to my food processor, I might as well use it if I can. So once the carrots are grated, we'll set them aside. With my baking, I like to cream the butter and sugar together first and then add in the eggs and the other ingredients. So what I'll do here is add the butter and oil into the stand mixer. What you can do as well if you don't have a stand mixer is you can just use a handheld like egg beater or a mixer, and you can use a regular bowl. But because I have this and I spent a lot of money on it, well actually we got it on our wedding registry, I like to use this. And it's pretty. Now you can use any neutral oil. I'm using avocado, but you can also use grapeseed or canola oil, something like that. And we'll add in the sugars. So I'm going to put this over top here, and this just protects it from splattering everywhere, because sometimes when you're creaming the butter and sugar together, it's even on the low speed, it tends to fly out everywhere. So this actually helps quite a bit. That's better. Hashtag not sponsored. Now we'll add in the eggs one at a time. Nice and slow. And we want to make sure we add eggs one at a time to make sure the protein and fat emulsify. Okay, now that the eggs are incorporated, let's add in the flour. And mix that again. And of course, my favorite part of the carrot cake is the walnuts. Now, some people like to add raisins or even like pineapple and all sorts of interesting ingredients, but I'm not a huge fan of those extra ingredients. I don't think that it necessarily adds to the cake, in my opinion. However, if you guys like specific ingredients in your carrot cake, make sure to leave a comment down below. Let me know. Time to mix it all together. Now we don't want to overmix this batter because we obviously want still chunks of the walnuts in there. So you could opt to fold it in at this point, but I don't really feel like doing that. I'm just gonna mix it a little bit. I think it's time for us to grease our baking sheets. Now you can honestly use so many different baking sheets for this. If you want to use an 8x8" pan, or you can use a bundt cake pan or a springform. I'm using these two because I want to make 2 layers, and then what I'll do is I'll put the frosting in between. But if you want to do just a 1-layer cake with frosting, that works as well. Now I'm using coconut oil to grease. You can honestly use anything you want. Butter, non-stick cooking spray, any of that kind of thing works. So I'll do that. And yes, I know it's parchment paper, but I still like to put some extra grease on it. And I'm going to put it on the sides as well. Be very generous with your oil. You don't want the cake to stick. When I have some leftover grease on my hands, I just use that as a hand lotion. Now you can totally use your hands for this too. You don't need this fancy brush thing, but it does help a little. Hand is best brush, best tool. Now my other trick is adding a bit of semolina flour as well to prevent it from sticking. A trick that I was taught by my mom. Let me know your favorite non-stick tools other than, you know, a non-stick pan. Those don't always work. Oh, that's nice. It's very sticky.
You could have used a larger spatula.
I know, but then I didn't want to dirty another one. I had this one already dirty.
Okay.
And you know how I get about cleaning extra dishes.
I subscribe to the Julia Child philosophy of cooking.
Yeah, and then I have to do all the dishes after. So because I'm doing this now and I notice this looks kind of thin, I could have probably made a larger amount for this recipe. However, what I could do instead is I can probably just add this into here, and then at the end when it's ready, I'll cut it in half. All right, time to put it in the oven. So the cake took about an hour to bake at 300 degrees Fahrenheit. And what I've done here is I've let it sit and cool off a little bit in the pan for about 10 minutes. And now I'm going to transfer it over onto this cooling rack. Flip it over. We'll take this top off and I'll let it cool here. While the cake cools, I'm going to make the frosting. So for the frosting, what I've done is I've cubed up some room temperature butter and I'm gonna brown it. Actually, this will be an interesting frosting, like a brown butter frosting. On medium heat, I'll add the butter into this little pot. And I'll keep mixing until it turns kind of a light brown. And what I want to see is little lightly browned specks appearing. Then we'll transfer it over into the bowl of a stand mixer, put it in the freezer to chill till it's room temperature. Luna's going through a bit of a borking phase right now. All right, so we have the brown butter that has been sitting in the freezer about 15 minutes. It's now come to room temperature. So it's time to finally make our frosting. We're gonna cream this cream cheese in with the butter and mix it thoroughly until a nice creamy textured frosting turns out. And then we're gonna add in we'll sift in the icing sugar and our liquids, which is the vanilla extract, a little bit of lemon juice, and some heavy cream.
What the?
Once a nice smooth consistency forms, we'll sift in our powdered sugar, mix it all together again, and as you can see here, I had to place the lid over the stand mixer bowl because powdered sugar is quite messy and flies everywhere. Then we'll add in the vanilla and some heavy cream mixed with a teaspoon of lemon juice. Beat it for another 2 to 3 minutes. Now it's time for us to finally frost the cake. Let's hope I don't mess this up. I got it. I got this. Almost there, guys. And I didn't cut myself. This smells absolutely wonderful. Let's get this baby on top. And who's gonna get to lick this? That's the real question. Do I choose my husband or my dog? My husband. Luna got enough licks today. And I think I'll add some walnuts as well to give it some extra texture and dimension. I really don't want to cut this cake, but I must have a nice taste test for you guys. We finally finished baking this amazingly wonderful, beautiful, fluffy, moist, perfectly sweet cake. And it's time for my taste test. Oh my goodness. It's actually so good. The crunch from the walnuts takes this cake to another level. This burnt butter frosting is just absolutely amazing. And everything, oh, and it's super moist, like extremely moist. This is everything you're looking for in a carrot cake. I hope you guys enjoyed today's cooking video. If you did, make sure to click like, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and you can give me a follow on Instagram at Greco Recipes, or check out the link in the description box down below. Also, comment down below your favorite Easter recipes. Bye, have a great day.